Buddy, can you hear me? I just started talking and Batman looked right at me. Uh-oh. Hopefully when he jumps up here, he won't knock anything over because last time he about did. Right, Batman? Okay, so for today's live reading, I will be doing chapter 16 and 17. I'm not doing chapter 17 this Friday because there's a thing going on, but I'm going to be cleaning at 1. So I have to make sure that I get everything done. So, anyways. So, recap from last chapter. So, Olivia had woken up and... Wait, hold on. Let me look. Oh, she was talking on the phone with her dad, and she got mad at her mom because her mom lied to her about her dad coming down, and she was upset, so she went to her room. So I think this might actually be the next chapter where he arrives. And these chapters are actually going to be like a little bit short because they're not very long. So this reading might not be very long. It might be 10 minutes long. I don't know. It usually takes me about 3 minutes to like read because I do the writers group every Thursday night, but I haven't because I've been doing Bible study. So hopefully anyways, okay. So I'm going to read chapter 16 and 17. So like I said, they're not really that long. Okay, so this is chapter 16. Within the next few days, Olivia sat outside on the front deck steps with her back to the railing. Both legs crossed over each other. A gentle breeze drifted across her forehead and cheekbones. Clouds glided across the blue sky and the birds chirped back and forth. Loose leaves fluttered across the grass. The scent of the lake flooded in from the beach. Floated in from the beach. The sounds from the TV and her mom doing the dishes was heard from inside. Footsteps drew closer to her. She peeked over her shoulder and saw her mom with the teacup in her hand. She only drank honey tea when she was nervous or worried about something. Of course, she would be nervous. Her ex-husband was coming down. Honey tea always seemed to calm her mom's nerves. Olivia looked back at the end of the driveway. Tires on gravel grew louder, then the sound of a motor. A taxi pulled up into the driveway and stopped. The door opened and a man stepped out. It was her dad. His hair wasn't so light brown anymore. She stood up and smiled. Tears filled her eyes. She ran down the steps and across the yard, straight into his arms. Daddy. Her dad dropped his bags by his feet and wrapped his arms around her. She held on as tears brimmed her eyes. I missed you so much, Dad. I missed you too. I'm so glad you are here. All the memories of them spending time together came back like a flash. It was good to be back in his arms. Olivia could finally talk to him about what had been going on. Her dad always listened and tried to help her out with whatever she went through. She pulled back a little. When did you dye your hair brown? It's not light anymore. A couple of days ago. I have to cover up the gray somehow. She looked over her shoulder and saw her mom leaning against the door frame with both arms crossed. She had a stern look on her face. Uh-oh, I hope I didn't cause any trouble already. Her dad peeked up for a brief second, then looked back at Olivia. I see your mother is happy to see me. Olivia laughed and grabbed a bag as the taxi man unloaded the last one, then set it beside her dad. Your bag, sir, the gentleman said. Thank you. Her dad pulled his wallet out and handed him 2 20s, then tapped the driver on the shoulder. Have a good day. You too, sir. Enjoy your weekend. Once the taxi was gone, Her dad grabbed one of his suitcases. Dad, she tugged on his sleeve. Mom has been drinking honey tea all morning. Does that bring back any memories? Yeah, it does bring back a lot of memories. Some are good and some are bad. Olivia lugged the other suitcases across the yard. What did he have in here? Bricks and rocks? Olivia took it inside and set it on the couch, then ran back over to the door so she could hear her parents. Hopefully nothing bad will happen. She leaned her head closer and peeked out past the door frame. Hi, her dad said with both hands in his pockets. How have you been? Olivia's mom stood there, then cleared her throat. Good. Her mom turned around and reached for the doorknob. Olivia bolted over to the couch and sat down. Please, God, let this go smoothly. Her mom closed the door behind her and walked into the kitchen. This wasn't going to go well. Olivia already knew. Olivia's dad closed the door behind him and looked into the living room, then the kitchen. Her mom was doing the dishes so fast that they clinked together. Forks and spoons were thrown in the sink. Olivia tightened her fists and rubbed her sweaty palms against her shirt. She hadn't seen her mom like this in years. What should I do if they start to fight? Run, hide, leave the house, and go to Grandpa's until they are done? She gazed at her dad. He looked hesitant to say anything. Olivia thought he wasn't going to say a word at all. Her mom always made him feel intimidated. You still look slim. Why did you have to come back, huh? She stepped forward and glared at him. Tell me why. Did you come back to tell me what a bad mother I've been to our daughters? Her dad took a step back. No. Is that what this is all about? Is that what this is about? I didn't come back here to argue with you, Doreen. Then why did you come back? I don't want to be here as much as you don't want me here. But Olivia needed me. I don't believe a word you have to say. Her mom glared at him. It's your fault your daughter is like this, she pointed. How is it my fault, Doreen? She pushed past him and walked into the living room, then came to a stop. Olivia looked up and saw her mom, who realized she was sitting on the couch. Her mom's eyes widened. Olivia, go to your room. But Mom, she pointed to the staircase. Now, Olivia, don't make me say it again. Olivia got up and looked at her dad, then made her way up the stairs. Her mom walked back into the kitchen. Her dad followed behind. Olivia stopped in the middle of the staircase. Her eyes burned with tears. The argument escalated. She still heard the screaming and shouting. She didn't want this to have her parents fight and yell at each other. She wished they could get along and move back in together, but sometimes things just doesn't work out the way she wanted them to. Her parents had sometimes fought nonstop, but it was always just temporary. If Grandpa were here, he would separate the both of them and say, stop fighting, especially around your daughters. What kind of parents are you? Those words echoed her mind. Olivia and Fern used to sit at the top of the staircase, hearing their parents fight for hours. Fern always told Olivia that everything would be okay and not to be scared. Still, for the most part, the only way to escape the drama in the house was to leave, go to Grandpa's, and stay until nightfall. If only Grandpa were here right now, there wouldn't be any fighting and screaming because Grandpa would do something about it. He always had. You didn't have to come. The water faucet turned on. I could have handled it myself. Olivia heard dishes clink together. Why haven't you handled it then? Her dad asked. I did, her mom yelled across the kitchen. How are you going to handle it? I'm taking her to counseling and therapy. The room grew silent. Olivia's eyes widened and her stomach sank. She couldn't believe what she just heard. No, not a therapist. They'll send me away. Olivia saw it play out in her mind. She'd tell the therapist about what was going on, and he wouldn't believe her. It was just a waste of time to even plan it. What? Olivia doesn't need therapy. I think you're wasting your time. Thank God her dad was on her side. He always stuck up for her in a good way. Dads always have their daughters' backs, no matter what. No, I don't think I am wasting my time, Griffin. Her dad had no reply. I'm taking her to the therapist. Olivia sat there on the staircase and wiped her tears away. Of course, her mom didn't have her back. It wasn't that she didn't. She did. But in this situation, she probably thought that her daughter was going nuts and wanted to get her some help. Okay, so that was chapter 16. So, when my mom and my real dad were married, I don't remember much of my real dad because he left when I was young. But I do remember the day that he did attack my mom. But I was like really, really young. And so that I guess the only way that I could have wrote this chapter between two divorced parents and a daughter was I had to watch a lot of movies and I had to kind of look at real life events that was happening around me because I do have a lot of friends that are divorced and that has kids. So I'm like, oh. So when I got to this chapter, I was kind of like, how am I going to write this? So I kind of just went with the flow and just started to write it. And I didn't know how a teenager would react to it. So I'm kind of like, okay, we'll just see how this goes. So, and then this is chapter 17. There's like only 2 pages. Wow. Okay. So chapter 17. Later that night, after a quiet dinner and cleaning up the kitchen, Olivia stepped into the living room. Faint walking sounds upstairs in the hallway stopped her. She swallowed hard and peered up at the ceiling as the fan twirled around and around. She tightened her fist, then noticed her mom staring at her. "What is it, Olivia?" she said, drying her hands with a towel. Nothing." She walked to the bottom step of the staircase and looked up at the landing. What was that noise, and where was it coming from? The only way to find out was to go check it out. She walked up the stairs one step at a time. Once she made it to the landing, she peeked around the corner, gripping the edge of the wall. She edged down the hallway towards her dark room. A heavy sickness settled in the pit of her stomach. She inhaled shakily as she took a few more steps towards the doorway. My throat's getting a little dry. Like sharp shards of glass, a coldness shot past her. She came to a stop, then spun around. Heart thudded beat after beat, breaths ragged. Suddenly, a gush of breathing against her skin caused all the hairs on her back of her neck to stand. Her lips trembled, and her stomach sank. She felt the urge to run. Like a knife in the middle of her back, a strong, sharp force shoved Olivia forward, knocking the breath right out of her. She fell forward towards a table filled with framed photographs. Some fell over and others fell to the hardwood floor. Glass shattered. Through her blurry vision, she saw the same thing she had seen in her bedroom nights ago. The shadow creature. Looking for an escape, a bone-chilling force shoved her to the floor, hands first. Her elbows and knees slammed against the hard wooden floor. She gritted her teeth and got back up. "Stop roughhousing up there and get to bed, Olivia," her mom hollered from the kitchen. "I mean it." Olivia wanted to scream out, but she felt too afraid the shadow creatures would go after her parents for trying to help. She didn't want that. Something was propelling Olivia across the hallway towards her bedroom. She grabbed onto the doorframe and held on. Two large hands pressed into the middle of her back between her shoulder blades. Claws sharp like a knife pierced her skin. Her hands ached from gripping onto the doorframe as her nails bit into the wood. The force was too strong, and she lost balance and fell forward. She rammed her rib into the corner of the blanket chest. She hissed back in pain and squeezed her eyes shut, then turned around to face it. A black, eerie mist burst into the room, tossing her backwards into the air, landing her onto the bed. Before escaping, both arms and legs were held down by an invisible force. Heavy pressure spread out through her body, as though 1,000 bricks were on top of her. Oh my god, that's creepy. I can't believe I wrote that. The clear hallway was easy to see, if only she could exit the room. Then she saw her parents run down the hallway towards her room. "Mom, Dad," she screamed. The door flew shut right in front of her. She slammed up against it, trying to get it open, but it wouldn't budge. Olivia laid there, her clothes damp against her skin. She was in a daze and her body grew numb. "Olivia," her mom screamed. Olivia gasped for air, but none came. The door flew open and bounced off the wall so hard pictures on the wall shattered to the floor. Her mom rushed over and wrapped both arms around her. "It's okay, I'm here." Olivia's stomach hurt and ached. She didn't have the strength to sit up. It was as if all her energy had been drained from her. "What the hell is going on in this house?" her dad yelled. Olivia's mom held her close. "I don't know, Griffin." Olivia gripped onto her mom's clothes and squeezed her eyes shut. "Why don't you figure it out then?" "That's why I'm taking her to counseling." Olivia held a hand to the side of her head. Shooting pain traveled through her forehead and the back of her neck. "Would you both stop it?" Her parents looked at her. "I hate it when you fight." "Olivia, do you want to sleep with me tonight?" She grabbed a pillow from Olivia's bed and led her down to the hallway, past the landing of the staircase. Once her dad was downstairs, Olivia stopped in the doorway. She knelt down, fingertips to the floor. She gazed at the darkness under her mom's bed. She didn't see anything moving around, no red eyes staring back at her. Her mom pulled the blanket back and sat down on the edge of the bed. "Olivia, nothing is under there, I assure you." Olivia wanted a closer look, so she pulled the loose sheets up from the floor and peered under the bed. She slid her hand along the hardwood floor and didn't feel anything. "Olivia Bell." Olivia peeked up at her mom past the edge of the mattress. "I'm just checking, Mom." She let loose of the sheets and laid flat on her stomach, then turned the lamp out and laid her head on the silk pillow and closed her eyes. Within minutes, her mom grew silent. Olivia turned her head. Her mom was out. Whoa, that was fast. She turned on her back and laid there, wide awake, through the passing hours. She stared at the white ceiling and clutched onto the blankets, too afraid to fall asleep, for fear that something might come into the room while she was sleeping. Olivia turned on her back, then lifted her head and peeked at the doorway. Nothing was standing there. She leaned over the edge of the mattress and peeked under the bed. No glowing eyes looked back at her. She leaned up, then flopped back to her pillows and yawned. Now that she was in her mom's room, she did feel safer. She didn't feel the heaviness or that eerie feeling in the air that made her cringe. She didn't feel watched, overwhelmed, or scared. That was a good thing. But she did listen for the hissing sounds and to see if the black shadows would appear across the floor. Nothing happened. Maybe the evil or whatever it was had left for the night because it was angry her parents had saved her. Maybe that was Olivia's escape in her safe zone, being around her parents. She curled up in a ball and closed her eyes. Okay, so that's it. Oh my gosh. Wow. I honestly, if I lived in a haunted house, I think, truthfully, I think I would try to figure out how to get it out. I guess all of these paranormal things, I got it from when I was a child, because after my dad had actually died, I started to get into like the paranormal, like what life was like after we die and stuff. And I recently had a friend. I think I've already mentioned this before. I'm not sure. I think it was last week. I had a friend tell me that he said that he can standing in my kitchen, and sometimes he can see her like walking back and forth. And I was like, oh my God, don't tell me that. That freaks me out. And he kind of chuckled, and I was like, well, how come I haven't seen her or felt her or anything? And he's like, because your dad is protecting you from her, because your dad knows that she's very mean and she tries to hurt you, but he stops her, so he's like blocking it to where I can't feel her or see her. And I was like, oh, thank God. So my friend is like a psychic, and he can like pick up on things and he can see things and stuff. And of course he told me, when you go home, make sure you get sage around the house and tell her to get out. You don't belong here. This is my place now. And he said that she used to live here. This building that I live in now is like very, very old. And that night when I went to bed, oh my God, it freaked me out. I was laying in bed and I heard scratching noises. Scared the crap out of me. I just laid there and I lifted my head, and I was like looking around, but I couldn't see anything. I just kept hearing like scratching noises, and I was like, what the hell is that? And it kind of freaked me out. I was a little afraid to like get up and go to the bathroom. And then the next night I had to go to the bathroom, and I have like this one chair that sits behind my couch, and I thought I saw like something dark sitting there, and it scared me, and then I went like that, and I'm like, I don't see you, and I don't think nothing was there because I had stuff piled in the chair. So I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to live with the ghost. I don't want to, if there really is a ghost here. If you guys want to give me tips on what to do, I'll do it, but I haven't felt anything. I haven't seen anything. Sometimes when I take videos or pictures, I catch a lot of orbs, and I always think that's my dad. So, but there's this one video I do, like, on Wednesday nights when I go to church, I do, poem readings, and then I upload it on my, Facebook, and there was this video of me, not singing, reading my poem, and I'm not kidding you, there was this orb, this bright white orb. It kind of like went towards me, and then it did Yui. It kind of just went sprinted away from me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that has to be an orb, because dust particles just can't shoot everywhere like that. Like, they float, they move around, but they don't do like a quick, unless there's a truck, kicking up dirt, making it. But I studied orbs, I've read about orbs, and that was definitely an orb. I think ever since I moved into this apartment, I've been catching so many orbs in either videos or photos. So you guys can go back to my YouTube channel, and you can watch all of my videos, and you'll catch at least one orb in the video. Because when I did my my apartment remodel makeover, I was like in here, and I was walking this way towards the kitchen, and an orb just shot right across the screen. So I guess you can say all of my paranormal writing does come from my life experience. I mean, I don't want to open myself up to seeing ghosts and spirits and letting them in. I don't want to do that, because I'm a wuss already as it is. You know, just because I write about the paranormal and ghosts and spirits doesn't mean I'm not scared. I mean, when I'm writing it, of course I'm not scared, but I don't want to put myself in a situation that I have no control of, and I could get hurt, or including my cats. So, I mean, I'm a Christian, and I go to church, and I have a close relationship with God, and every day I always tell him, like, just protect me, don't let anything attack me and my cats, just don't let evil in. So, anyways, that was a long talk. If you guys are, like, interested in me doing, like, a live talking about paranormal things that had happened to me in my life, I mean, I can do it. I can try to go back. I could write down things that happened to me when I was a kid. I can try and remember cemeteries I had went to and stuff like that. I do actually have a picture where I was in a cemetery with a friend, and there was an orb hovering above my head. So, but anyways, I can totally do a video on that if you guys are interested, because I'm interested, you know, in like haunted houses and orbs and all that stuff. And so anyways, I had fun writing this chapter, but I also felt bad because Olivia was being attacked, and the shadow creatures, they're really not called shadow creatures, they're actually called dark forces, but Olivia doesn't know that yet. But I would be terrified if I was being attacked by this dark shadow and it was like holding me down. I've had situations where I would be having a dream and I can't wake up and I feel something holding me down. And I try to wake up, and I feel like there's this force or this energy not letting me wake up, and I feel like it's trying to take my soul. And I know that sounds weird, but I used to have that a lot before I accepted Jesus into my heart and into my life, and when I started going back to church. But then when I started going to church and accepted God into my heart and into my life, I stopped having those. And I was like, oh, thank you. I think it was like probably a demon or just bad energy trying to hurt me or something. I don't know. But yeah, I haven't had those in a long time. I say that now and then it's going to happen. But as long as I'm doing what I'm doing, I think I'll be fine. But so anyways, that's all I have. Let me look. 18. Oh, yeah. 18. Okay. Let me see. Okay. So 16 and 16. Okay. So this Friday, I am not going to read because I gotta do cleaning. So. And then someone inboxed me and said, inbox me for a reading spell or a money spell or life reading. I never thought about doing that. I don't know if I will, but I don't think I've had anybody like read me or whatever, so I don't know. I think I'll have to talk to my pastor about that. So, but thank you for the offer. Okay. This Friday, I'm not doing any live reading. This Saturday, I'm doing farmer's market from 8 to 12 o'clock. And then I'm going to be going, I think I'm going down to the park. And no, wait, that's a different day. Never mind. Oh, crap, I'm confused now. I'm going to have to talk to Lita. Shoot. I think July 3rd is the one where I'm going to be helping kids do sand, where you take those jars and you do little layers of different colored jars or whatever. But there's something going on this weekend after Farmers Market on Saturday, and I think it's up here on the square. Okay, so my next coffee chat is 11. So it is Tuesday the 22nd, and so I'll be doing the coffee chat, and then Farmers Market is at 3 o'clock to 5:30. And then I'll be doing another live reading, probably just one chapter maybe, unless something comes up on the 25th. I don't know. I feel like I should start doing 2 chapters on Wednesday. I don't know why, because a lot of stuff has been happening on Fridays. Maybe I should turn this. Maybe. There's comments that are like covering my forehead, so I don't know. Okay. So anyways, okay. So if I have nothing else going on the 25th of this month, then I'll probably just do chapter 18 on Wednesday, and then Friday on the 19th. And then Saturday the 26th of June, I have Farmers Market at 8 o'clock to 12. So, alright. So that is it for my schedule. I don't think I have anything else going on. I don't think I do. So, anyways, I will see you guys probably next Tuesday, I think. No, wait, yeah, next Tuesday. I'll see you next Tuesday at 9 o'clock for the coffee chat. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I usually wait until it comes up. I usually wait until my week is done, and then I pick what was interesting and I just start writing it. So, anyways, thank you all for joining me and reading along with me or whatever. If you have any questions about the 2 chapters that I read, you can comment down below. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. God bless. Bye.